Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the book that he's read this week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I've read this week is this one. Although technically I haven't read it this week, I've read it over the last couple of weeks, but full transparency there, it's a memoir stroke biography, so the sort of book you can dip in and out. Right, Less of the Waffle Cliff, what's it called? Well, the book I'm reviewing this week is this one. It's called Mr. Wilman's Motoring Adventure by author Andy Wilman. Now, for those of you scratching your head saying, who's Andy Wilman? And I have to fess up, I didn't know who Andy Wilman was until I heard about this book on a radio interview by Jeremy Clarkson. It says, Top Gear, Grand Tour, and 20 years of magic and mayhem. And Andy Wilman is the producer, Top Gear. He's the man behind the camera, and in fact the advertising blurb for this book says the definitive behind the scenes of Top Gear and Grand Tour from the mysterious man from behind the camera. And this is the story basically of 20 years of Top Gear and the Grand Tour. It's very well written. Andy Wilman tells us as a child he was ill, and he had a sort of mysterious stroke, muscular joint disease, which meant he was in hospital, bedbound for a year, and him and the other occupants of the ward would make up stories and tell each other stories. And he also mentions his great uncle's Uncle John, who was also a great storyteller. So Andy Wilman, at a very young age, learned how to tell a story, how to tell an interesting story. And that's carried him through in his career and helped him clearly, both writing this book, which is a very good read, and obviously as a producer of Top Gear and the Grand Tour. So the book kicks off, and it's a chronological order. Starts off with Andy as a child, problems with his health as a child, as I mentioned, he's in hospital. And the one good thing is that because of his ongoing health issues, he's got out of games. And he gets a scholarship to a public school called Repton, a school in Derbyshire. And whilst there, meets another lad who's not that keen on games. He's all right, tall guy, and it's Jeremy Clarkson. And Andy Wilman and Jeremy Clarkson, despite being in different years, because Jeremy's technically two years, one school year above, they strike up a friendship. They got the same attitude to life, slightly... don't take life that seriously, like to have a laugh, like to challenge authority, and clearly that's continued over the years. So they form a friendship. And when talking about the early days at Repton, Andy says that one of Jeremy's first bits of community work was to get the local Mace convenience store to stock Marlboro Reds, so no more number 6 or gold leaf. So good old Jezza got in there early, and thus the tale unfolds. So we find out that Jeremy's gone into journalism, starts working as a reporter on the local Rotherham newspaper. We then find out that Andy's in the wilderness for a bit, doesn't know what to do, and eventually they get together, and the idea, the nucleus of the idea for Top Gear is started. So we find out that Top Gear as a programme started off on the BBC, doing straightforward reviews, and that was it. And the show stopped, and the tale that unfolds with Andy telling it is that Jeremy and Andy are getting together, and they want to relaunch Top Gear. They want to base it, have a base, and it turns out that's the hangar, an old airdrome that's been vacated. They've got the test track. They come up with the idea for the Star and a reasonably priced car, which turned out to be one of the most popular parts of the Top Gear program. And thus, we hear the story of Top Gear. We find out who was involved originally, the ideas behind what they were going to do, and just make things a little bit different rather than straightforward reviews. They would do all sorts of challenges, and those challenges developed over, I think we got to 22 series of Top Gear, and it was like a stable Sunday night viewing for everybody. Even if you didn't like cars, even if you weren't a petrolhead, it was still an entertaining programme. And certainly, as I said, the Star and the reasonably priced car, they tell nobody wants to be a guinea pig, and their struggles initially to get media, TV stars to take part in this exercise, i.e. driving an ordinary car around a racetrack and trying to get the fastest time. But they tell the tale of one particular tale of Sir Michael Gambon, a well-established, really, really top of the tree actor, but not known for his love of light entertainment, didn't do chat shows, etc. But he was a bit engineering based, so they get him on to do the star in a reasonably priced car. And that take was famous because on the last corner he basically took it on two wheels, and henceforth that corner of the racetrack is known as Gambon. So interesting tales there. We see tales of some of the celebrities that took part in the star and the reasonably priced car series. Some good, some bad, some funny stories, some not so funny. And that's the story of the whole book. It's not just behind the scenes laugh-a-minute stuff. There's some serious stuff as well. So we follow the progress of the Top Gear series, how they improved it from year to year. We also see what happened on probably the most popular Top Gear programs, the specials, like the trip to Florida and the issues they had there, the places in Argentina and Chile. And so really, really well written, good stories, funny stories, but good, engaging stories. Even if you're not an utter petrolhead or a big Top Gear fan, you'll enjoy the stories, particularly the stories behind the travels, the specials, and some of the out-of-the-way places that they went to, and the challenges they had from the locals. And some of the funny things in this is that they mentioned, Andy Wilman mentions that at one stage a BBC producer said, why don't you include some of the outtakes on the programme, some of the things that don't go wrong? And he said, well, some of the things that do go wrong, shall I say, no, don't go wrong. And Wilman says, but we do. That's part of the programme. You see it warts and all. You see when the cars break down. You didn't used to see that on motoring programmes. You see when the cars break down. You see when things go wrong, when somebody has a whiz idea and it goes spectacularly down the pan. So really, really good book. There's some photographs in the middle pages, as with most biographies. Really enjoyed it, as I said. So if you're a petrolhead, you're a Top Gear fan, get it. It's well worth a read. 409 pages. I think that's probably it. It's a really, really good memoir. As I said before, Wilman knows how to tell a tale. So even if you're an absolute Top Gear fan, you will enjoy reading this because some really entertaining stories. So I think that's it for this week's brief book review. Back to a fiction book next week, 10:10. Do we do it again? Thanks for watching. Bye.